When should you place your sports bets? This is a question I get asked a lot, so I thought I'd make a video on it. I'm going to speak on two specific things in this video, right? Because it actually depends on what type of gambler you are, how much money you are gambling, and what markets and sports you're betting into. That will determine when you are making your bets. So I'm going to come at it from two angles. The first angle I'm going to come at this question from is that we want to be placing our bets as early as possible, right? Or I'm going to come at it from the angle of placing your bets early. Now, the reason you want to place your bets early is because you're going to get a better line most of the time, right? If you're betting the correct side in any one event, then if you're placing your bet early, most of the time you're going to be getting a better line than placing it right very late or on game day, on match day, or the day before match day, whatever it may be. And this goes for any sport. Doesn't matter what sport. If you're able to get your bets in earlier and you're making the right bets, well, this is a whole nother conversation for another day, actually making the right bets. But if you are making the right bets, if you are choosing the positive EV side, if you are choosing the side that is correct based on the odds, then you're going to do a lot better. You're going to make a lot more money in the future. If you are placing your bets on a Monday and the game is happening on a Saturday, for example, you might get a line that's plus 100, right? So you basically double your money, however much money you put down, you get the exact same money back, right? That's a plus 100 line. If you put $50 down, you get $50 profit back, right? So you get $100 in total, you've doubled your money. That is what plus 100 represents, right? It's even money, it's 1-to-1. So if you don't place that bet on Monday at plus 100 and you wait and wait and wait to place it on, let's say, Saturday, well then if that bet that you wanted to place is the correct bet, meaning that the bet that has value, so in a plus 100 case, the bet that will win more often than not, what that means is that you're not the only person that knows that, right? You have to respect the market that you're betting into. And you're betting into a market that, if you're betting on a major sport, hundreds of thousands of other people are also betting into that market. And there's going to be people that know what they're doing, and the majority of people don't know what they're doing, but there's going to be people that do know what they're doing, and those people have heavier influence over the betting odds than people that don't know what they're doing do. And there's going to be people that place a lot of money on these bets, and most of the time the people that are placing large amounts of sums are people that know what they're doing, right? Most of the time. It's changing now with the current state of society, with Drake placing bets and stuff, but basically if you're putting a lot of money comparatively to other people, then you probably know what you're doing more than them, right? So if that's the case, if the people that influence the betting lines are people that know what they're doing, then more often than not, they're making the right decision. So they will also be betting on that plus 100 line if it's the right decision, right? So the people that influence the line are also betting on that plus 100 line on a Monday, for example, or throughout the week, whatever, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday. So what that means is that throughout the week, that line's going to crash. It's going to go from plus 100 to minus 110. Then before you know it, on game day, on Saturday, it's going to be minus 150 or minus 200. I mean, it can happen, right? I've seen odds move very heavily in both favors. I've seen odds go from underdog to pretty big favorite. I've seen odds go from pretty big favorite to underdog, right? It happens very regularly. I mean, Karine Silva fought Ariane Lipski not long ago, and she was an underdog at some points. I don't know what she opened at, but she was an underdog, plus 120 range, and she closed like minus 160 or something, right? So that's a massive move. But if you got in early, you would have got plus money on her. But if you bet on game day, you would have got minus 160, right? So obviously, you want to be betting as early as possible based on this scenario I'm telling you right now, right? It's much better to bet early because if you're betting the right side, you're going to get the early number, which is always going to be the best number because other people are going to be betting on the market and making the line crash and making the line worse for you. So get in early. That's going to be my first piece of advice for you. And I'm going to give you a massive caveat after, but most people it won't really affect you. But I will give the caveat because I always do. But yeah, guys, make sure you're betting early, man. Like if you are betting early, if you're doing your research early, you're going to make a lot more money moving forward. A lot more money. Because let's take the scenario I just told you. Plus 100, on Monday, but the line closes at minus 200. Just make it minus 200. It's easy for me to work this out. The line closes at minus 200 on Saturday, right? So if you bet it on Monday and you bet $50, like we said earlier, then you earn $50 profit, right? So you get $100 in total. So you've turned your $50 into $100. Now, if you take that same $50, but you bet on it on Saturday, not Monday, and the line and the bet that you're betting on is the correct bet, so the line's moved, and now it's minus 200. Well, if you put $50 on minus 200 line, you get $25 profit, right? So you've turned your $50 into $75. But you've bet on the exact same team with the exact same money, but you've earned $25 less, right? You've earned 50% of your stake less. 50% less money that you have earned in your pocket just because you waited 5 days to bet. So imagine how many times this can happen if you're waiting late every single week, right? It's going to happen a lot, and those 50% of money, that's going to add up. You lose 50% of your money one day, and obviously it's not going to be as aggressive as that. Most times it's going to move by maybe 10% implied or 20% or something. Probably not 50%, right? But you get my drift. This adds up over the long term, and you're going to earn way less money. When you look back at the end of the year, you're going to earn way less money because you was betting on a Saturday instead of a Monday. So I always recommend people to bet as early as possible. Now, there is many caveats to that, right? Like a lot of times you want to see what way the market is going to move. A lot of times you may think the market's going to move one way specifically. Like if there's a hyped fighter or a big fighter fighting in a UFC event, right? And I want to bet on their opponent because I've done my research and I think their opponent's a good bet. Oftentimes I won't bet on a Monday. I'll wait till literally game day or the day before because I know more money's going to come in on them. Or maybe because I have connections in the industry, I might hear that a big group or even a big person wants to bet a significant amount of money on a specific team or a fighter. So then what I will do on a fighter, so then what I will do is I'll just wait. I'll just wait for that to happen. The line probably will move and then I'll bet the other side. So there's caveats to where you won't always want to bet early. But for the most part, I'm betting pretty early. I'm betting usually on like Mondays and Tuesdays. And then I'll add as the week goes because that's just how my process, that's just how I do my process. But anyone that follows me, anyone that tails my picks will tell you we always have bets on Monday and Tuesday, basically every single week. We're putting bets in quite early. It's at least 1 or 2, 1, 2, 3 bets early. And then I'll add as the prop markets open up, then I'll start to add my props. I don't add props at the start of the week because I can't bet props at the start of the week. A lot of people can, but I can't. I mean, I can, but bad limits. So I wait for the prop markets to open up and then I start adding my bets. Now, the one caveat I'm going to give you, I'll give you a few, right? But the main caveat I'm going to give you and speak about it a little bit is that if you want to get a significant amount of money down, you cannot bet early in the week, right? If you want to bet $30,000 on a fighter, you ain't going to be able to bet $30,000 on a Monday, right? You're going to have to wait, right? Now, it is not impossible to get that money down. You can spread your stake. Like I can get that money down quite easily on a money line if I want, right? But different events call for different liquidity. It's not as every single event is different. Maybe one week I'll be able to get $30,000 down on a week in advance, but maybe the other week I won't. And for prop markets, for totals less, but prop markets, you ain't going to be able to get that money down on the Monday. You might have to wait till the Friday and the Saturday. As your stake increases, as your bankroll increases, as you try to put more and more money down, it's going to be harder and harder to do so early in the week. So oftentimes you have to wait to the end of the week or close to the end of the week to bet into these certain markets. So that's the time when you wouldn't bet early in the week. But it's not because you don't want to, it's just because you can't, right? Because you just can't get that amount of money down. But most people ain't going to really ever get to that stage. And if you do get to that stage, you can cross the bridge when you come to it. You've already earned a lot of money on sports betting. You're kind of happy with where you're at in sports betting. If you really get to the stage where you want to put $20,000 on a fighter to win via decision or something, which is the position I'm in now. Sometimes I will do that. But it took me a long time to get here. And there's many outs I have at this point. I can do that. But usually I have to wait till later in the week. So that's really it. Not much more to say. The main thing about this video, boys, is that you want to be betting as early as possible because you're going to make more money doing so, because you're going to be able to avoid a lot of that line movement. That, if you are betting correctly, And if you are betting with an edge, then the lines will always go against you. So you definitely need to be betting as early as possible to avoid that and to get the best price. And that's it. Not much more to say. I will see you in the next video. Good luck with your bets.